So I brought a couple of people up on the stage. Steve Lister, many of you will know because he spoke yesterday. If you don't know, he'll intro himself in a moment. Stefan Casey will also intro himself. He was at Nestle, now at io.tt. He'll explain more about that company. But these guys can give us a little bit of insight into how important that sustainable issue is. Gents, just intro yourselves very quickly, and then I'll ask you the first question.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, before stuff. So, yeah, formerly in Nestle as of October last year, and I was in global innovation roles in packaging sustainability and digital transformation. So I feel slightly qualified for this next chat. But now I've moved over to io.tt, which is a software solutions platform that is beyond the pack. It is connecting brands and consumers to packaging, and Jenny made my job very easily through QR codes, NFCs, RFID, whatever that might be, and really embracing digital print through the eyes of brands and retailers.
Brilliant, thank you. Steve.
Brilliant. Thanks, Steph. Steve Lister, founder of SteveLister.com. We're a sustainability consultancy which deals with global brands and retailers, and we work predominantly in the physical world of retail marketing. So we work directly with the global brands and retailers and also supply chain partners to bring sustainability to life in a way which really matters when it gets in store to consumers. So yeah, it'll be a good conversation. Looking forward to it.
So, okay, guys, we talked quite a lot about sustainability this morning and yesterday. Who really cares about sustainability? I mean, is it really that important? Steve.
Well, I mean, that's the big question, because I mean, we'll always go into a project and work with sort of like these brands and retailers, and it always comes back to who actually cares. Yeah. And all the reports are showing that actually consumers do care. You know, we've gone past this thing of just touching it and people going, yeah, I do. Now, I'll touch on what's called the value action gap in a minute, but when you look at, Mintel have just done a global sustainability consumer report. I put it up on a slide yesterday, and what was really interesting is they broke it up into 3 key areas of age groups of who cares and who doesn't. So it's a good question to kick off with. There's 2 areas of people that do care, right? So I'm just going to quickly do a quick thing for you, right? The 2 areas, age groups that care, and I'm just going to make sure I just get this right. Gen Z. So a hands up, anyone who's under 28. Yeah, good. Oh, wow. I'm jealous. Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Got some good youngsters in the audience.
He's identified himself.
Maybe mental.
Yeah. I didn't do that. Okay, stick your hand up then if you're technically classed as a sort of like a Gen X, which is 45 to 60. Slightly more of us in the audience.
I can't even get into that group.
Right. No. Right. All those people who put your hands up then, you are actually classified as the age groups that actually are concerned about sustainability more than this age group, which is millennials. Hands up who's aged between 29 and 44. What are you guys doing?
You don't care anymore.
Yeah.
You don't care.
See, Charlotte was really enthusiastic about putting her hand up. But it was just to say there, that last group with their hands up are actually less concerned in this new report than the first 2. So it's quite interesting.
That's shocking,
now.
Isn't it?
We're actually getting parallel of younger and older consumers being concerned more about the environment, and that middle bit maybe becoming a little bit more sceptical. I don't know. We'll have to dig a bit deeper.
So how do you manage that? I mean, Stefan, how do you manage that as a if you're a brand, for example, and you're trying to work out what to do and how to tell that story around sustainability?
It's funny on the millennial, actually, women are the worst offenders as well, by the way.
Oh.
I'm zooming in on you, Charlotte, sorry.
Ouch. I wouldn't have gone there on that one.
Yeah, sorry, I like to go below the belt. No, but seriously, brands have to always have that on-off message, you know, that consistent message in the background. It needs to be there. Same with retailers, same with us, and our jobs is to continually educate and reinforce that these things exist. Yeah. Without that always-on messaging, it's forgotten. And unfortunately, it's not mandated yet. There are taxations and everything else we'll come on to, but we have to continually educate and communicate and try to do this at the lowest levels. I do a lot with academia, universities, colleges. I do talks on sustainability as well as digital transformation. And I often run little mini experiments in these halls. You know, I'll have a few hundred students. I provide them with lots of chocolate. I know that's bad, you know, obesity and everything else, but sugar rush. But guaranteed, with this age group, the younger age groups, the Gen Zs, litter everywhere. I've just given a talk on how to deal with materials and sustainability and recyclability, and it's like a bin. It's not resonating, even when you're talking to people right in front of you. It's crazy. So reinforcing that messaging.
Okay.
Reinforce it on the packaging, but now we have another trigger, connected packaging.
So can I just ask you, just thinking along the lines of, you know, there's a few manufacturers in the audience, and you guys, obviously you're an Nestlé, so you've got a good handle on what they would be looking for in terms of their supplier chain. And obviously, Steve, you know a lot of the suppliers. So what's going to make a big difference for you as a brand who are, you know, building your supply chain for packaging? What's going to make a big difference in terms of the technology?
Well, I loved the presentation earlier from HP, from Pepe, from HP. I love that whole thing about connecting people with the campaign, with the packaging. But if I was going to say, and Jenny did a great presentation along with Charlotte, is me personally, I think the biggest step is going to be the DPP. Okay. When we get to the digital product passport, that allows transparency through the supply chain. And unfortunately, guys, you won't have anywhere to hide. You know,
so that's a big issue for manufacturers, yeah?
It's going to be, because basically it's going to ask for how something is made, who's made it, you know, what are the component parts, what are they made from, what are the materials, how are they recyclable? And really at that point, if you've got any areas where you might be using misinformation or information, i.e. greenwashing, you're going to get found out pretty quick. Okay. So I think the acceleration towards transparency will be driven by the DPP. I'm just going to look at Charlotte here just to make sure I get this right. The DPP is coming in 2027.
So guys, does that mean everyone will have to be working towards 2027?
Yeah, it's going to get to some areas a little bit quicker, maybe textiles, whatever. But all I'm saying is if you don't understand DPP, the Digital Product Passport now, you better understand it.
So as manufacturers, they should be keeping an eye on that, thinking about that.
I personally...
No, more than I. Think about the lead times for prints and changes. Yeah. Seriously, you know, put my old hat on, it's 18-month lead time. You're already missing...
There you go.
Okay.
So if you're dealing with global brands like Nestlé, if you were phoning Steph up and working on a campaign 18 months out, you're nearly at 2027. Yeah. So if you're not factoring it in now, so people then say, well, sustainability, like you quite rightly said before, do you care? Legislation will make you care. Transparency will make it very visible that you have to care.
Yeah, okay, cool. If anyone doubts that, then they can come and talk to you afterwards, yeah, because I can see a few people frowning and thinking, maybe not. So we talk about legislation. We've talked a little bit about consumers. What else? What else might be in the mix? Brands, other factors, what else might be in the mix?
We touched on the trends, and the thing is, people always want to see a trend, but there's one big trend that's coming out globally, and that's called the value action gap, and I heard from a couple of speakers yesterday. So just to give you an example of that is people say one thing, but do another. And we see it a lot now where people are coming into retail environments saying that they're going to do one thing and walk out and do completely the opposite. But there are many factors to do with that. There's obviously cost of living crisis somewhere. If you're a busy mum going shopping with 2 children and you're shopping on a budget, are you going to shop sustainably or are you going to do economic? So there are outside factors that are going to be compressing sustainability as we move forward. But as supply chain partners who are making stuff, printing stuff, using materials, I don't think we've got a choice. Okay. Legislations, do you agree, Steph?
Well, look, I think we're in the driving seat. We have to. We have to enable the brands and retailers, because for those who were here yesterday, education, awareness, it's not there. Unfortunately, if you're working in brands and retailers, the churn in those roles can be 12 to 18 months. Yeah. So you're constantly in this cycle of re-educating and making sure that you're doing the right thing. But I think there was another great chap, Philippe, presented yesterday, and this is, this, do we want to pay more for sustainable goods? We say yes, but we don't, But Philippe is saying yesterday, emotion is still the biggest driver. If we can pull on the heartstrings, and Pepe was very good with this as well, this will drive change. And what I mean by this is our tone of voice needs to change.
Yeah.
And my wish to all of you from the supply chain, stop talking about the tech. Stop talking about DPI and resolution and all these things. This audience is fine. We get excited with tech people, but you're alienating the people who are actually going to make the change.
Okay, that's a good point. And, you know, we all suffer from that, particularly if you're making technology. So how do you get around that? How do you go and see Nestle and talk to them about something? So obviously you say solution, not product, but what's the kind of language you should be thinking about?
Pull on the heartstrings. Pull on the emotions, pull on the big game-changing kind of considerations, you know. Think about DPP, ingredients, allergens, technology. There's no excuses now. If someone has a peanut allergy, that information is available on multiple ways. There's nowhere to hide. I think we've said this a few times now. Yep. The technology is there. The print industry is ready. To engage with these people, we need to find champions. And this is something that we picked up yesterday and in the manifesto. We need to find the champions to have that voice. And we need to make their life as easy as possible, not overwhelm them. There are a lot of manifestos. There are a lot of associations. There are a lot of people with the share of voice. But if we want these people to be the drivers of change for the brands, for the retailers, we need to be their guiding partners.
And that's a really good point. I was doing a keynote talk in Dublin, in Ireland, and there was a consumer behaviour guy, a little bit like Philippe. And he said his presentation was fantastic, but he said one thing which totally resonated with me. And he said, don't expect consumers to save the planet.
That's
he said, it's the brands and retailers and the people who are making this stuff, and we make it, we're responsible for the packaging and all of that. Don't expect the consumers to save the planet. It's us in this industry and the brands and retailers who need to deliver to the consumers. What you said was brilliant. It's about making it easy. You know, if you make a piece of packaging, guys, that is unrecyclable now, you won't be able to do it in the future.
Yeah.
You'll get taxed, there'll be legislation. So you've got to start thinking about, oh yeah, well I need to do this because it has to have barrier layers on this and I've got to put multiple layers of print and I've got to laminate it. That might be all right for today and yesterday. It's not going to be all right for tomorrow.
Has anyone heard of GS1 Sunrise? Here, show of hands.
Whoa. That's quite a few.
So explain what that is if people don't know.
Look, there's more legislation, basically. You had a great presentation where you listed half of what was coming.
Yeah, that was
Please get that slide. But that was just UK-centric or European. It's not global. But GS1 Sunrise is essentially 2027. We adopt the 2D code. You've all heard of the 2D. The barcode is obsolete. If you don't comply with these, it's not only fines, it's criminal charges. This is massive. They're really upping the ante.
So that's a big issue, isn't it? It's the real legislation.
You're not just going to get a fine. You're going to get actually locked away.
Well, it's the same with greenwashing. I mentioned it for all the people who weren't there yesterday. I mentioned the Green Claims Directive.
This is brilliant.
So if you're looking at the Green Claims Directive, so if anyone wants to understand that in layman's terms, it's just greenwashing. It's about people making claims about their product or services that could be seen as misleading. Now, the European Union, okay, I live in the UK. How many people from the UK in today? Okay, I'm not going to ask you how many people voted for Brexit, right? I didn't vote for it. I wanted to stay in Europe, right? And we always say, well, we're outside Europe now. But we're not. We're not. We deal with global brands and retailers, and we have to apply, the EU Green Claims Directive. Do you know what the fine is if you make misleading statements? It's 4% of your turnover. Okay, you might be a smallish company. What if you did that to Nestle and Nestle got fined? What do you think 4% of Nestle's turnover is?
Yep.
It's pretty big.
Okay.
So we've got to be focusing on that transparency.
I just want to, as we're kind of coming to the end of this, I just want to pick up on something. If we were talking to luxury brands, it's a massive, it's a very tricky market, isn't it? Because, let's be honest, you were talking about it before, corrugated or folding carton, looks good, looks right, but
it's not
the
right.
luxury brands
it's
don't
not
like
right
it.
for luxury.
How's it work?
They still want glitter. They still want it to be sparkly. They still want it to be overpackaged. But unfortunately, the PPWR and things like that are going to make things smaller. They're going to minimise waste. You won't be able to open this luxury glitter box anymore and see the tiniest little lipstick in the middle of it. It's going to have to change. It's as simple as that. So they're being challenged more than ever, and I think as an industry, we've got to really start to think about how we adopt our practices to suit the luxury and the luxury beauty markets.
Yeah,
Because they
brilliant.
still want it to be, powerful and engaging.
Yeah, Stefan, did you want to add anything there?
Well, I'm going to another one, a show of hands. Has anyone heard of codes of the category? That's a proper
Say again?
Codes of the category.
No.
There are playbooks for marketeers and brand managers that have been curated over decades, backed by science and semiotics and psychology and behavior of everything we talked about. And these codes are the rule books, and luxury has a huge one about the unboxing experience, the layering effects, all these decorative effects that we've got. This is a huge mindset change for a brand and marketeer to get their head
Sorry, can I
around.
interrupt you? I love coming to places like this. I've been in this industry for so long, and I never knew that.
Wealth of knowledge, wealth of knowledge. But honestly, every Mondelez, I'm talking to the Azios, I'm talking to all of these organizations. The rules are changing, but they have to change for the reasons of the presentation yesterday, sustainability, what we're seeing now. But this is hard for brands to take on, especially younger brand managers who are looking at these playbooks and saying, but the rules tell me I can't have an ugly QR code on my gift set on the front of
Oh
the
my
pack.
God, how many times have we heard that?
I put it on the back. I mean, these things, and then that was an accessible QR code as well, so what's the point? So the learnings, we have to transform, and we have to lead, and we have to show them the reasons why, because we are in the driving seat now. They need our help, and we need to rewrite the codes. The gun is to the head with a lot of this legislation. This is helping us, but we can still have a role, and I think that's important.
Okay, just so last couple of minutes. Again, I said we're talking a lot to manufacturers here. So your words of wisdom to them going forward with the development of their technology, what would you say should be part of that thinking? Steve?
Yeah, well, look,
Stefan.
there's a wealth of technology, and it's evolving all the time. And we have to embrace it, trial and test it, and proof of concept, and these are the ways through. But start to talk the language of emotion. Start to talk the language of the consumer. Less about the tech, more about the problem. Be problem solvers, and be open to collaboration. You cannot do it all on yourself. Yeah. Collaboration, APIs, technology plugins, this is the landscape of the future. So work together. And I know this is a great community, and we do that anyway, but we need to do it quicker and more of it.
Brilliant. Thank you for that. Steve, last moment.
I'm going to use a slightly X-factor word here, so I do apologise, everybody. Not that it's my favourite show, but it is a journey, and it's not a destination. Don't think you're going to get to a point and go, right, I've done sustainability now, I can stop. Because as soon as you get there, it's going to change. The parameters will change, things will change. So one thing I would say is, wherever you are on that journey path, don't even be afraid if you're starting it and you're at the beginning. There's no shame with starting at a point. Everyone will be at a different point. Start somewhere, and Steph says a great point. Collaboration is key. You won't be able to do it on your own. So form partnerships today, form those partnerships with different people, and help them to take you along on that journey. But again, one thing I will say is, don't beat yourself up. I've got loads of battle scars over the last 20 years about doing things, launching things, them not working. You're taking a step back, you do it again and go again. Just do it. You are all experts in your field. Be proud of being an expert, but take all those other experts along with you.
Brilliant. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Give them a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it.
Super. Thank you for both of you.
you.
Thanks very much.
Thanks a lot.